Did you see it? Holy cow. Well, it is well past time to get into this little 4.3 6-cylinder. Came out of my son's, what is it, 90? 91? 90 Silverado short bed. Got the 6 with the 5-speed. Basically what I'm looking after, I'm going to tear it down, replace the gaskets, probably timing set, rebuild TBI. I believe that's German for something like the benzene installer. I forget. I'm pretty sure most of the oil and crud is caused by a leaking intake by the looks of things, but I may even tear down as far as taking the cylinder heads off and checking those out on the inside, checking out the valves, you know, I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, I'm going to get the majority of the gunk off of here. We will spray it down. I left my engine cleaner at work. I think I have some Simple Green or something hanging around here, but I'm going to block off. I'll probably take the TBI off, block that off, block off all the openings, pressure wash it with my cheap junky little electric pressure washer, and then go from there. All right, we can kind of see through the crud now. Take the TBI off. 3 bolts ought to take care of that. Alrighty. Simple Green and Purple Power bottle. Either it's going to work twice as good or it's going to self-destruct. Not too sure. Well, that was a big old failure. I bought that thing at Alco when they were going out of business, on clearance, half price, probably 12, 13, 14 years ago. I don't know. I can't believe it's not working anymore. We got a major internal leak, major internal malfunction on that thing. So I got the big chunks off. That's okay. I'll pull it back in and we'll just take it apart, clean it old school, maybe haul parts to work and clean them in the wash cabinet. I'm going to see if I can get number one son's help after we eat some lunch here. Maybe tear this thing apart and we'll see what it looks like on the inside. Okay, you can go ahead and then just all the bolts, let's line, like put the water pump down and we're just going to line stuff up.
Okay.
Leave all the bolts with it.
Okay. I'm going to start.
I don't want to get all that crud down the crankcase, but anyway, I think I am ready to pop the heads off. There's that one. Don't want to lose them here. Okay. This is going to be very interesting. Got a little bit of sludge and crud build up in the valley there, but not bad. One. Come on. Oh, no. Oh, I'm glad I held that other dowel. Whew. Yeah, there's quite a ridge in there. One issue for sure is the chain. You know, it saw its duty and it did it, but it gave its all for king or country. Well, it seems like whenever I tear an engine apart like this, it's always not will I make a mess, but how big of one I'm going to make. In this case, I completely forgot the block was still full of antifreeze. Ha! Now, as far as the oil pan, I mean, that thing, it's like taffy in the bottom of it. I mean, it's thick. It's like cold maple syrup or something. Either they've been running some kind of additive, the old school AMSOIL, you know, just not changing the oil. And there's a healthy ridge on there. I don't know. It almost makes me want to see what a crate motor would cost, but we'll make that decision. We were talking about, the guy loves blue, anything blue, and he has a white truck, and I promised maybe I'd put some white striping on it or something. It's got a blue interior. I said, you want to paint this thing blue? You know, we can do any color you want. I was thinking GM corporate blue. You know, I'd even do the darker Ford blue. That just seems wrong, but you know, it's more the color he likes. And well, he really thought Chevy orange would look pretty good. So shoot, yeah, you know, right on, brother. Well guys, I've gone on just a little journey here recently working on this thing. It's been sitting by the side for a little while, and I'm going to bring you in here and show you what I'm dealing with. But I got back to work on it, cleaning it, got to looking at these cylinders, and you know, if you'll recall, when I pulled it out at the time, I was really struggling what to pull, the transmission or the engine. The engine or the transmission. Finally went ahead and pulled this, as you well know. Wanted to fix all the leaks, and there was just stuff I wanted to get off there anyway. Wanted to check it out, wanted to look at the heads, just make it a good driver for him before, you know, before we give him the keys and send him out in the world, make sure it's going to work for him. Well, I started paying attention to the ridge in here, and there is significant ridge in these cylinders. And I got to looking around with my old Hastings bore gauge, and let me just bring you in here and show you what I'm seeing. It's not good. So when I measure the bore, I get 4 inches at the ridge, which should be the factory bore size, same as a 350. But when I come in here, my rods are stamped. Now, I don't know enough about these later, let's say later. I know this thing's 30 years old already, but in my mind they should not be stamped from the factory. I don't know if you can see 4 right there. I'd probably really have to zoom in. 2, 6, they're stamped. Okay. Why would they be stamped unless somebody pulled them out? And why would somebody pull them out if they weren't boring out the cylinders? And if they bored out the cylinders, the ridge wouldn't be there, or sure wouldn't be exactly 4 inches. And I've got my bore gauge here. It goes right, I have it set to 4 inches even, and it goes right down to the 0. I go in just a little bit, bam, right after the ridge, up to almost 40. We go down, 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 down towards the piston. This one must be about bottom dead center, almost, not quite, and we're at 3 thousandths, 4 thousandths. So these cylinders have a big old taper. Same thing on, I tried it on the number 6 also. Or maybe it was number, it doesn't matter. I tried it on the other side. Same thing. So these pistons, these cylinders have big old taper in them. I mean, I don't even know if a guy can clean that up with 40 over. Oh, man. So in the end, this is just bad news, you know? I know if I just slapped this thing together and said, whatever, just ignored the ridge, 30 seconds after we started driving it, the rings and the piston would say, nope, no more, I'm going to start burning all the oil. And honestly, I think it probably was burning a lot of oil. There's got to be a lot of piston slap going on in there, the way those things are tapered. I was just going to mention that I forgot to mention that I looked and there are no stampings as far as size, as if an aftermarket oversized piston has been put in. I was just wiping this down and cleaning this off, and I noticed something. Did you see it? Holy cow. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we're shot. Okay, without cutting the ridge, which I'm not going to do right now, because I'm thoroughly disgusted with the whole thing, you can pull 1 and 6 out because your main bearing webbings aren't in the way on the bottom end. I can actually see where I wiped it down, sprayed it with like a penetrant oil, just to give us some oil. And in the shine, I can actually see where from here. I don't know if you can on the camera, but we'll see what number 1 says. Okay, so on the ridge, I'm at 0. Bam. 39. And then almost immediately down to 3 actually. And then at the bottom end we go back to 0 where it never travels. Jeez. So I wasn't expecting this when I pulled this engine. This thing never would have performed out on the road. No wonder I thought it was losing oil. We would have it full. He would drive it, we would go down the driveway to get the mail. Half a mile away, we would drive it around the section. He would drive it around the yard, and it was always low on oil. And obviously from the external leaks, the rear main, the intake was leaking terribly. I thought it was all just coming out that way. Never really paid attention. We drove it so little, I never really paid attention to exhaust smoke as it was running. And I don't even know offhand. I'm guessing you could go up to 40 thousandths bore on this engine, like a small block Chevy. But, ooh, that even makes me uncomfortable. And certainly lining the thing isn't worth it. So what are my options going to be? Well, reman engines, I've already been there, looking that up. $1,800, $2,000 would buy a long block reman 4.3. Just looking around on eBay, I haven't called any local salvage yards. About $800 plus shipping to get a salvaged one to match. Then, of course, you have no idea of condition of what you're going to get. I doubt it would be this bad, but you just don't know. So there again, you'd be going through an engine, making sure it was all ready to run. I'm starting to think crazy things like I have a good 305 on the rack because of my 86 GMC, or I have an old 69 350, I have a 307. Do I really want to head down that road again and convert this little pickup to a small block Chevy? I have nothing wrong with that. I was kind of looking forward to a little bit better gas mileage for the guy, but that's another option. Well guys, I started out to make a video of a rebuild, refresh of this little engine from start to finish, and we just got stopped cold in our tracks right there. This thing turned out to be a big fat old boat anchor, that's for sure. It was clearly misused, abused, run low on oil constantly. Cylinders absolutely worn out. I don't know if you noticed, number 1 piston, the skirt is completely gone. Don't know where that went. Now, it's kind of funny, I posed the question to you guys, one of the previous videos, of was there any validity to the opinion that Pennzoil was kind of a bad oil. I mean, my grandpa, he ran a service station and gas station from the 40s to the early 2000s. He retired when he was 80 years old, and he absolutely was against Pennzoil. He said it would just carbon up, you know, the the engines that you take the valve cover off and it's all completely full of carbon, or the lifter valley, he said that's Pennzoil every time. Now, I have no idea of their modern oils. I don't use them. You know, you kind of adopt what your forebears tell you. You know how it is. This had Pennzoil written on the fan shroud. This thing was absolutely carboned and gunked up, oil pan, lifter valley, everywhere. It was terrible. Probably more due to the fact that it was run low, but there were a lot of you that agreed in the comments section on that video that, yeah, Pennzoil, at least from back in the day, was a bad deal. So that's kind of funny. Now, we're not going to let this get us down, slow us down, deter us. None of that. We're going to figure out something to do, and we're going to go with it. This is just something you expect when you buy $300 pickups. Now, I was excited to get it going when it just took a fuel pump, but obviously there's a few more issues to work through. Now, we are just under 40 thousandths, and they do make 40 over pistons, but with that 2 thousandths, 1 or 2 thousandths that we would have to play with, I really don't think we would get that cylinder cleaned up. Between boring and honing, I think you'd end up way over that 40 thousandths. It's really not worth sleeving and boring and going through all that machine work on a Chevy 4.3. They are prevalent enough that we just find a different one. And who knows? The one cylinder we just looked at could be the best one. You know, we could cut the ridge, pop all the rest of the pistons out, and it just gets worse from there. We don't really know, but from what I see, it's not worth it, and it's time to stick a fork in it. Oh, did I forget something? Appreciate you all. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you guys. Where's my hat? See you on the next one. Poor old Chevy.
We suggest that you like and subscribe now.